Next in our proportions unit is percent proportions. In a percent proportion, we're looking at a ratio or a fraction that compares part of a quantity to the whole quantity. So it's also called the base. In this case, we're doing a base of 100 because we have percents. The other ratio is the equivalent percent written as a fraction with a denominator of 100. So we're talking about percents, parts, and wholes here. So when we have percent over 100, we're also talking about parts of a total, and we're also talking about pieces of a whole. Okay, so when we're talking about percent over 100, we're talking about how much of the part out of the total thing, or how much is this piece out of the whole thing. Okay, so these are kind of equivalents here. The common way to solve proportions is to use this proportion model right here. Is over of equals percent over 100. Is over of equals percent over 100. Let's take a look at that. So what that means is that, let's write it up here, is over of equals percent over 100. If we're going to find 6% of 30, we don't know what that is. Okay, here's the word is. We don't know what it is, so that's x. Is over of 30. Okay, and 6% goes over 100. Okay, so if we want to find what 6% of 30 is, we're going to fill in our is over of equals percent over 100 model, cross multiply, which will give me 180, and then divide by 100. Okay, so 6% of 30 is 1.8. Now 80 is, let me do that differently, underline. 80 is 20% of what number, of what? We don't know of what, so now our x is going to go in the of position here. And we know that 80 is the is number. That will go on the top. And 20%, 20 is our percent number. Now we have 80 times 100 divided by 20. These all have extra zeros on them. I can just cross those zeros out. We have 8 times 10 divided by 2. So 80 divided by 2 is 400. Sorry. Okay, so we have 400. 80 is 20% of 400. All right. And that 20% was the other way. Okay. So 80 is 20% of what number? 80 times 100 divided by 20 will be 400. Okay. Next. 16 is what percent of 40? Remember, is over of and percent over 100. 16 is what percent? We don't know. Of 40. Solve for that one, and I want you to do number 4 on your own. Okay. When you have a word problem, you're going to solve the same way, is over of and percent over 100. We're going to find our keywords. If 200 of the 550 reptiles in a zoo are on display, what percent of the reptiles are on display, and round to the nearest whole number. Now, it's hard for you to find the is and the of in a word problem. Remember that is over of is the same as part out of total and is the same as piece out of whole. Okay, so when you're looking up here, if 200 of the 550 reptiles, these numbers are going to fit in part and total or piece and whole, okay, to tell you what your is and of are, and then what percent is your x. Same thing here. You need to remember that you have is over of, which is the same as part over total, which is the same as a piece of a whole. Okay, and you're going to use that to figure out how many more cups of cereals are in a box of brand B. Try to figure that one out on your own. Now we have some more of our is over of percent questions. So I want you to complete 7 on your own and 8 on your own. Okay, and we're going to talk more about this in class. This is a very large part of our next unit, the percent proportion. So please go ahead and watch this video a couple of times if you need to figure out how to do it. And we will talk some more about it in class.